Have you heard of imposter syndrome? Well, I have it. I have never felt like I belong in any job I have ever done. I was always waiting for someone to find out I couldn't really do it and that I was a fake and a fraud. I would deflect compliments, self sabotage when things or anything was going good, and was always living in fear of being found out or seen as a failure. If you can relate to this, then you, my friend, may just be suffering from imposter syndrome too. Welcome back to the Property Management Podcast with That Property Mum. I'm Kylie Walker, and in this episode, I'm going to take you on a little bit of a personal journey with me. And it's one I'm fairly confident many of you listening will be able to relate to. I recently got asked to present to a group of property managers, and immediately my old friend imposter syndrome reared its ugly head. Who are you to do this? You can't be serious. Why would you do this to yourself? You failed last time you did this. Don't do it. It literally screamed at me as I accepted the offer. I honestly only heard about imposter syndrome when I was taking an Amy Porterfield course back in 2020. And if you haven't heard of Amy Porterfield, well, let me tell you, she's an ordinary girl with imposter syndrome, confidence and self-belief issues. And she overcame all of them to go and build herself a multi-seven-figure online marketing empire anyway. So go take a listen to her podcast, Online Marketing Made Easy. It literally changed my life. But after taking her course, I quickly realized that I had imposter syndrome too, and I could finally put a name to something I had been feeling for many years. I instantly became well aware why it had taken me 10 years to grow my business and make a profit, and 2 years to start this very podcast. So let me break down imposter syndrome for you in this episode. But before I dive in, can I ask a small favor? If this episode resonates with you and you think to yourself, wow, I really needed to hear that, then there is every likelihood someone else in your world needs to hear it too. So I would be very grateful if you could recommend and share this episode with a colleague, friend, or family member that really needs to hear this. So let's dive on in. So what is imposter syndrome? Well, imposter syndrome is loosely defined as doubting your abilities and feeling like a fraud. It involves feelings of self-doubt and personal incompetence that persist despite education, experience, and accomplishments proving otherwise. And it isn't a diagnosis or a medical problem, but rather a pattern of thinking that can lead to self-doubt, negative self-talk, and missed opportunities. It reflects the core belief that you are inadequate, incompetent, and a failure, despite the evidence that indicates that you're actually very skilled and successful. So how do you know if you have imposter syndrome? Well, there's a couple of key indicators that will let you know whether or not you have imposter syndrome. So here is a couple of them. You will play down your success, no matter what is happening around you, how much people tell you you are amazing and you're doing a great job and you are perceived to be successful to everybody else, you won't see it. You will hold back from doing your job because you think you are a fraud. So you likely won't take a promotion at work, for example. You can't accept accolades when someone compliments you for doing a great job or resolving a conflict or solving a complex issue. You will likely say, oh, it was nothing, don't worry about it. Somebody else helped me do it. They did all the heavy lifting. I just closed the deal. You will also lack self-confidence. You will self-sabotage. You will overachieve. And you will have a fear that you won't live up to other people's expectations. Now, imposter syndrome can and does affect both your personal and professional life. For starters, it instills self-doubt and low self-esteem. People will reject praise and downplay achievements and allow others to take the acclaim. It also impedes career growth. Sufferers may not demand or even expect a promotion or a pay rise, and they may simply not push themselves forward at work. It also hampers leadership and management. Sufferers will feel vulnerable and fear being exposed, which makes it tough making those tough and unpopular decisions, and showing strong leadership less likely. It restricts innovation and risk taking, and you will also fear failure, which will inhibit creativity and inventiveness. It also affects your mental health, most alarmingly. It creates stress, anxiety, and feelings of isolation. So let me share a little personal story with you. So for 21 years, yep, you heard me right, for 21 years, I didn't do any public speaking at all. And I was a TV sports journalist at the time. And I declined every guest speaking opportunity or event that I was invited to, and avoided also showing my face on TV as much as possible. All because I once spoke at an event and I stuffed it up massively. Well, it wasn't actually massive. It was so small and minute, but I created this big, massive drama and event that has kept me from speaking or having the confidence to speak publicly for 21 years. All I did was I kept getting a family's name wrong. And this family won a lot of awards. It was at a Surf Life Saving Awards night, and I was the MC. And the name was something like Van Kime Pima. And I'm probably still stuffing it up. But by the end of the awards, my lovely red power suit was dripping in sweat. I was visibly shaking and my inner voice was screaming at me, "Don't you ever put yourself through this again. You can't do this. You are a fake and a phony." And I didn't do it again for 21 years. I avoided ever having to public speak again. Until recently, I was asked to present a talk to a group of property managers. And somehow I said yes. But inside, my friend Imposter Syndrome was yelling at me, "Don't you dare do this. You stuffed it up last time. You can't do this." But I did do it. And let me tell you, it was so far out of my comfort zone. I felt sick to my core before I got up to speak. And as an icebreaker to the group, I told them that same story in the hope that when I inevitably did stumble, stuff up, stutter, or forgot my words and had to keep battling with my imposter syndrome during the presentation, that they might have some empathy for me. They might realize that I'm imperfect, I'm vulnerable, I have fears and self-doubt, just like them. And what I found by sharing that story and my battle with imposter syndrome was that many of the people in the room also suffered from it. So if you feel like something is holding you back from living your best life, or you are afraid to fail or put yourself up for a promotion because you feel like a fraud, know that you are not alone, and what you are feeling has a very real name. So the good news is that you can actually help yourself stop feeling like an imposter. So the first thing that you can do is we need to break the silence. Shame keeps a lot of people from fessing up about their fraudulent feelings. Knowing that there is a name for these feelings and that you are not alone can be tremendously freeing. So start communicating and talking about it. Separate your feelings from fact. Now, there are times that you'll feel stupid. It happens to everyone from time to time. But realize that just because you may feel stupid doesn't mean you actually are. The third thing you can do is accentuate the positives. The good news is that being a perfectionist means that you care deeply about the quality of your work. The key is to continue to strive for excellence when it matters most, but don't persevere over routine tasks, and forgive yourself when the inevitable mistake happens. Just don't attach too much emotion to it. Fourthly, you can develop a healthy response to failure and mistake making. Henry Ford once said, "Failure is only an opportunity to begin again more intelligently." So instead of beating yourself up for falling short, work out what you can learn and improve on in the experience. You can also develop a new internal script. Become consciously aware of the conversation going on in your head when you're in a situation that triggers your imposter feelings. What is your internal script saying? You are stupid. You can't do this. Who are you to do that? Or thinking, wait till they find out. I have no idea what I'm actually doing. Tell yourself things like, everyone who starts somewhere, starts something new, feels this way in the beginning. Or I may not know all the answers right now, but I'm smart enough to work them out. You can also visualize success. Do what professional athletes do. Spend time beforehand picturing yourself making a successful new management pitch or resolving a difficult dispute. It sure beats picturing impending disaster and will ease your stress. Reward yourself. Break the cycle of continually approval seeking from others. Pat yourself on the back and be your own cheerleader. And fake it till you make it. Now and then, we all have to fly by the seat of our pants. And instead of considering winging it as proof of your flaws, learn to do what many high achievers do and view it as a skill. Don't wait until you feel confident to start putting yourself out there. Courage actually comes from taking risks. Now, imposter syndrome doesn't just impact individuals, it also impacts the teams and businesses they are a part of. So if you're a business owner or in a leadership role, watch out for team members who might be feeling out of their depth. They may appear to be performing well on the outside, but struggling inside. So look for some signs of loss of self-confidence and anxiety. They may be uncomfortable with praise and step back, letting others take acclaim, or they may deflect it by attributing it to luck or the skills of someone else in the team. They may also become self-depreciating and express greater uncertainty, such as, I'm not really sure what I'm doing here, or I found this difficult, but I had a go. In addition, look out for a drop in performance, emails being sent way before or after normal working hours, or an unusual delay in responding or making decisions caused by procrastination. To help members of your team that you suspect may be suffering from imposter syndrome, education and coaching are key. Now, studies suggest that simply finding out about imposter syndrome and knowing that others feel it too helps significantly. So be open, discuss it, and build a team culture where it is okay to be unsure, to not always know the answer, and take the appropriate risks. Attribute success fairly as well, like reward teamwork and creativity as well as hard work. Imposter syndrome drives a need for external validation. A lack of inclusion can make those who have it feel worse. So develop a strong, inclusive team. The annoying thing in all of this, and with imposter syndrome, is that your and my old foe, the imposter, will always be screaming at us. And every time that I stand in front of a new group of property managers, it's going to be there. But I'm going to get up and do it anyway. I'm going to fly by the seat of my pants, and I'm going to fake it till I make it. So who else wants to join me? Please don't forget to share this episode with someone who needs to hear this.